hear it, I'll try to get closer.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for being here. As Nicole said, I'm Amanda Pohl. I am the elected Circuit Court Clerk in Chesterfield County. I ran to represent everyone in our community, and every day I fight for justice, fairness, and rule of law. No matter who you are, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, you are welcome in the court, and you're welcome here because we're going to serve you. But right now, that rule of law is being undermined right down the street in Chesterfield. ICE is showing up at our general district court. They're arresting people who simply are trying to have their day in court, mostly for minor traffic incidents. So let me say that again. Families are being torn apart, not in secret raids, not in far-off detention centers, but right here in our backyard, in a place where people are supposed to be able to seek fairness and resolution. This is cruel, this is inhumane, and it's completely unjust. People come to court to pay their tickets, they come to resolve those small matters, to testify as witnesses, to seek protection, and instead they're arrested. Their families wait, and people never come home. How can we call that justice? Courts are supposed to be neutral, but ICE has turned them into places of fear. And when that happens, no one feels safe. Victims stop showing up, witnesses stop testifying, people stop coming to court altogether. We have seen it. Our entire justice system breaks down when fear replaces fairness. That's right. But let me be clear, this is not just a local problem, y'all. What's happening in Chesterfield is a reflection of a much larger crisis in our country. Donald Trump and his band of bullies, including Rob Whitman and Jen Kiggins, are weaponizing, yes, boo to them, are weaponizing the federal government against the very people that it is supposed to serve. And I want you to hear me on this. We will not be bullied. We need people in Washington who will stand up to this president and the cowards that enable him. Now, it's one thing to just talk about fighting back, but I've done it boldly, publicly, just as you are doing today. As a clerk of the court, I found it was my duty to refuse to stay silent while my neighbors are experiencing oppression, and I've faced arrest doing what's right. I've confronted bullies, and I'm not afraid to confront the biggest one of all, Donald Trump. And so I'll speak directly to the president right now. You will not scare us into silence and submission. When our rights are under attack, when families are being disappeared without due process, it is not just a political issue, it is a moral one, and it is our patriotic duty to fight back. But we can't do it without representatives who are willing to fight with us. If we don't hold Congress accountable, if we don't elect people with a proven record of standing up for our communities, we'll keep seeing these injustices grow. So look around. Look who shows up. Look who's standing in these streets with you today, and ask yourself who's going to be bold enough to speak out when it's your rights on the line. Because we know how this story goes. If we don't stand up for one another, one day there will be no one left to stand for us. These same Republicans, Rob Whitman and Jen Kiggins, are voting to strip people of their rights, and they're also voting to take away Medicaid, food assistance, support for veterans, benefits for the elderly. They are harming our most vulnerable citizens and calling it leadership. But real leaders act, even when the cameras are off. They show courage, not cowardice. And they keep their word no matter what. I know I'm ready to stand up to my so-called representative, a man who can't be bothered to show up or simply tell the truth. And I'm proud to stand here with all of you tonight, loud and strong, to say it again. We will not be bullied. We will not be bullied. Now I'll close with this: if not us, who? And if not when, now? Because the poet June Jordan said it best: we are the ones we've been waiting for. And I believe that. I believe you are the ones we've been waiting for. I believe you all are powerful, and I believe that together we can reclaim our democracy, block by block, vote by vote, hand in hand. Because we are done with fear, we are done with silence, we are ready, we are standing for democracy, we are taking action, we are taking the fight right to those who refuse to speak for us, and we're doing it right now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Okay. Our next speaker is Sheba Williams. Sheba Williams was born and raised in Richmond, Virginia.
Yes, Sheba!
She is a Norfolk State University alum with a bachelor's degree in business management. She has professional licenses in cosmetology and barbering and is a master instructor. In 2012, Sheba began working exclusively as a mobile barber stylist, traveling to clients anywhere from DC to North Carolina. Meeting so many people from so many different walks of life and being actively involved in so many community service projects, Sheba found that more people than she realized had at least one thing in common with her: a felony conviction. Her passion for helping others be more than a conviction led to her founding a nonprofit, No Left Turns, in 2016. The organization was born to be a support system for those impacted by mass incarceration, but quickly evolved into a day-to-day fight for removing the policies and stigmas around a past conviction. Sheba sits on several boards to include Virginia Normal, Maggie Walker Community Land Trust, Richmond Black Restaurant Experience, Cannabis Equity Reinvestment Board, Commonwealth Catholic Charities, Housing Development Board. Damn, girl, how many things you do? And she is the Enrico NAACP Criminal Justice Chair. She is the owner of Styles by Sheba, the Institute of Forgiveness, and Sheba Williams Consulting. Most importantly, she is a mom of 3 young adults. Let's hear it again for Sheba Williams.
Good evening. Thank y'all for coming out in this heat. Blowing, blowing, blowing. Thank you, Nicole. My name is Sheba Williams. I'm a Richmond, Virginia native. I got into this work because I was wrongfully convicted in 2004, and I discovered that our system put an economic barrier on people who are impacted by these criminal legal systems. I have lived with a conviction for 21 years, and I can tell you the cost lies on us. We spend, according to the Commonwealth Institute, about $11,333 per Richmond Public School student to educate them each year. We spend $33,000 per year to incarcerate an individual in Department of Corrections, and the cost increases when you go into a federal prison across this country. While I have been fighting this fight for the past 9 years, I want you all to be very aware that the costs come from you all if you are impacted or not. We spend our tax dollars on felony disenfranchisement. We take away the opportunity with the tune of 46,000 plus collateral consequences. That means the crime after the crime cost us money. We have people who come out of systems to the tune of 95% of DOC. Individuals who go into DOC come home and are our neighbors, our loved ones, brothers, sisters, our parishioners, and they are deemed no longer eligible for certain economic balances. It is ironic that we look at this today and we take away the opportunity to live and work in our communities if we have these convictions. Today, as we look at what this administration is doing, they're bringing back the concentration camps, they're bringing back the slavery that says that people who may be deemed migrants in our country are not eligible to be here. Guess what? There are no such things as migrants on stolen land. We all are guests here. Today, it may be someone who is deemed an immigrant. Tomorrow, it may be you. So we have to fight to keep our democracy alive, and it takes more than just voting. It takes showing up like this. It takes serving on boards and doing jury duty, running for office, getting in position to fight against this administration and all the things that they are doing to tear families apart. While this has been a part of my life since I was 10 years old, because both of my parents were incarcerated when I was 10, I know the effects of taking people from the community and disappearing them. It is becoming something that is more prevalent and present for you all to see now, but this is something that has been going on for centuries. I am glad that people are outraged. I am glad that people are paying attention. The next steps are to get in line and make sure that when our next election comes up, you show up to those polls. And when those people get in position, that we hold their feet to the fire to do the things that they said they would do on the campaign trail. They need to know that we do not want what is happening in Washington to trickle down to our home, and we need to do everything possible to keep this thing from going the way that it is going. Virginia has been lucky to have representatives who had the foresight to fight for things that fight back against this administration. And we have to keep going with that. Our minimum wage in Virginia is only $12.41. Our federal minimum wage is $7.25. Nobody is keeping up with the cost of living. So think about what happens with crime. Virginia's #1 line budget item each year is public safety. We increased Department of Corrections budget from $1.5 billion with the B to $1.8 billion over this next 3 years, from 2024 to 2026. While we put more money in for school resource officers to the tune of $30 million and law enforcement and all of those things, nobody put money into resources in community before they get to those handcuffs. Because we talk a whole lot about caring for our neighbors, but our budget will show you exactly where our integrity is. We have to start demanding that our money goes towards resources and benefits for the community, because if we want to shut down this thing that disappears people from our community, we have to make sure that they are able to have a structural foundation to be able to have good quality of life. And right now is the time for people to pay attention. I know a lot of people set out the election last year because they had every excuse about why elections don't matter, but if that election did not matter, they would not be fighting so hard to keep it from us. I need y'all to pay attention to that, tell that to your neighbor, and make sure that people get involved and show up for others, because at this point, we have to rely on our neighbors. We have to rely on each other for safety. We have to rely on each other to make sure that we are protecting the people who are most vulnerable, because I can tell y'all that I got friends who are LGBTQA+, I got friends who are DACA recipients, I got friends who are scared to speak out. This is the time to fill in the gaps for those who cannot show up the same way that they were able to show up over these past years, because people are afraid and we are losing people, not just being kidnapped away from a system called ICE, we are also putting people in carceral situations by cutting Medicaid funding, SNAP and TANF, and access to child care, even taking away the technical assistance for helping people getting signed up for services. We got an announcement on the website that Social Security benefits technical assistance program will be closed down. That means that people are not getting the resources that they need to be whole in our communities, and we need to rely on each other to make sure that happens. The economic terrorism of this system is what is going to fall back on all of us. The money that comes out of our pockets in taxes, we know where it's going. It's going to the small percentage of the rich, and there are a whole lot more of us who are living in poverty, and we're cutting out our middle class, so we need to make sure that we are protecting each other, relying on each other, and making sure that we are eyes and ears and big mouths like myself for other people. So I don't know how much time I got, 3 minutes left now. Thank y'all. I really need everybody to stand up and fill in the gaps for people who are afraid to be out here in this climate, because it is a very real thing. We've seen a whole lot of mess in this past 6 months, 36 days, no, I'm just playing. But we counting down to this 4 years is over, but until that 4 years is over, Virginia has the opportunity to put protections in place. Because we have an election every year, this election that's coming up is going to be critical for all the things that we fight for, including our 3 constitutional amendments. The right to vote, which is something that is very near and dear to me. It ends felony disenfranchisement in our Constitution that's been in there since 1902. And do not let somebody tell you that it is about public safety. It is a vestige of slavery and Jim Crow era. We need to get it out of our Constitution ASAP. Right to marry means that people can love who they want to love, and people do not make a decision about who they get to marry. If you don't want to get married to somebody of the same sex, don't do it, but don't take it away from somebody else. And our reproductive freedom rights is the 3rd constitutional amendment that says that women have access to safe health care. It's not just abortion, it is safe health care. It is cancer screenings, which we've seen funding cut in that arena as well. I lost my mother, my grandfather, and my aunt to lung cancer. If you listen to the administration say that reproductive freedom is all about abortion, you miss the fact that cervical cancer is something that is screened out when we take funding away from Planned Parenthood. So I hope that people will educate themselves properly, because there's a lot of mis and disinformation out there, and I hope that people will fight for what they believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheba. All right, y'all, I need y'all to get turned up a bit out here. I feel the love from the cars, but I don't know if I feel it from the protesters. Let's try that again. One more again. If you are in the sound of my voice, I need you to turn it up. What way? All right. Our next speaker is Aaron Woloshin, who is the co-chair of Richmond Democratic Socialists of
A new bridge, better transport, or anything that we can lay our eyes on to say, that has made my life better. We have never known a government that has taken care of us, only a government that takes away from us. A government that always has money for war, but never money to put food on the table. We have taken for granted that our leaders can do nothing for us, that things simply are this way and cannot be changed. Things may appear hopeless. We may feel helpless in the face of such overwhelming inertia against us. But I tell you now that I have never felt more hopeful for a brighter future. And that's because in New York City, just a few weeks ago, they elected a young DSA member and state councilman, Zoran Mamdani, as the Democratic candidate for mayor in a landslide against all the money in the party. How did he do this? He came to the people with real solutions to problems in their city and in their lives. Free public transportation, government-owned grocery stores, and a $30 minimum wage, a mass rent freeze, and eviction moratoriums. And that's what DSA wants to bring across this nation. Real change you can see and feel, because these problems are not isolated to New York City. Richmond itself is the 4th highest in the nation for evictions, and we own less housing now in Richmond than we ever have before as a percentage. Imagine knowing your landlord won't raise your rent however much they want. To have a grocery store that won't surge price you or gouge you during a crisis. We can have these things and more, and it isn't far away if we fight for it. In New York City, Zoran is fighting for it, and here in Richmond, Kenya Gibson is fighting for it. DSA here and across the country is fighting for that future. Together, we are putting up candidates who will bring concrete changes to improve regular people's lives, and all paid for by simply having corporations and billionaires pay their fair share in taxes. Tax the rich. DSA is in the streets advocating for and building programs to teach renters their rights and eviction defense to keep our neighbors in their homes and not suffering in the streets. DSA is working hand in hand with labor unions who fight day in and day out to force companies to finally provide living wages, safe working conditions, and retirement worth working for. Each of us has a role to play to bring this new reality to fruition, whether in the workplace with a union, organizing in the streets to help our neighbors, or working with candidates we can trust to deliver on their promises. Each of us must ask ourselves, and I ask you now, when will be the time to do more than protest and vote? When is the time to take what little time we have and use it to change the world around us? DSA says that that time is now. This chapter of America is ending, but we all of us will decide what our new beginning will be. Join DSA, join your local tenants union, organize your workplace into a union, and be the beginning of the change that we all need. Thank you.
I know y'all can't see me, but I'm vertically challenged, and I got to change this mic. This brother done put it all up and stuff. Hold on a second. We got some technical difficulties. All right. Thank you. Our next speaker is Mary Bauer. She is the Executive Director of the ACLU of Virginia, out here in these streets fighting for our rights. She is going to talk to us about immigrant rights and our constitutional and international law. Come on up, Mary.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow Virginians, my friends and neighbors. I'm so thrilled to be here with you all tonight to say loudly and clearly that what is happening in our government is not who we are, and it is not who we want to be.
That's right.
There are 3 miles of Virginians up and down Monument Avenue looking to make the very best kind of trouble. And it's not the first time. Look at the empty pedestals on this avenue. They once held monuments to slavery, and we took them down. And we will take down every monument to oppression, authoritarianism, and white supremacy that this administration tries to erect. We won't go back, and we will not become the dystopian autocracy they want us to be. Woo! So let's commit here today that we will continue to make good trouble as long as attacks on our neighbors continue. When ICE shows up at our courthouses, we will make good trouble. When trans and non-binary students are kicked off sports teams, we will make good trouble. When our classrooms and libraries are censored, we will make good trouble. When Virginians are purged from the voter rolls, we will make good trouble. Every time we see civil rights and civil liberties under attack, we will make good trouble. This administration is trying to divide us against each other and to make us forget something fundamental, that what happens to one of us can happen to every single one of us. After all, 1 out of every 8 Virginians is an immigrant, and 1 out of every 9 children in Virginia has an immigrant parent. Together, that is close to 1/4 of our Commonwealth. If masked agents can pick up someone off the street and whisk them away to a prison in another state, it can happen to you and me, whether we are immigrants with or without due process. Just take our client, Professor Badr Khan Suri. He was kidnapped outside his Virginia home and taken to an immigration prison in Louisiana. And why? Because he dared to speak up for Palestine. We filed a lawsuit and we got him back to his wife and family, but we can never give him that time back. All we can do is fight together to make sure that this does not happen to any other person who calls the Commonwealth home. Asking for asylum is not illegal. Reading books and expressing your opinion is not illegal. Protesting is not illegal. This is what makes America great. What is illegal is the unrelenting string of attacks this administration has unleashed in an effort to make life hell for hard-working families. We're not going to let them get away with it. In just the first 100 days that Trump was in office, the ACLU filed 53 lawsuits, and we've won a lot of them. In fact, since Trump was inaugurated, we have filed a total of 145 legal actions. We're not letting up, and we're not backing down. Woo! But let me tell you, it's legal actions. We're not letting up and we're not backing down. Woo! But let me tell you, it's making good trouble. Woo! Thank you to all of you for being here tonight to make the most excellent trouble. Let's keep it up. Woo!
Thank you, Mary, and the ACLU of Virginia. All right. Next up, we have Christopher Maxwell, founder of WRWK, the fine radio station to which all of you I know are listening to right now. On the urgency of the fight and the many tools beyond protesting that we can utilize to right this ship. Ready? All right.
The reason that brings me here today is largely invisible. You can't tell, but I'm on disability for 2 major forms of cancer and 6 other life-threatening maladies. And you can't tell from looking at me. And you know what? You're probably surrounded by people that are like that. And you don't know. So when if somebody says, oh, I don't know anybody who's going to be harmed by this bill, they don't know. They don't know because not everybody is as public about it as I am. Many people are shamed. And I'm not going to waste time on shame because, well, and you know what? I just made it all about me. And you know what? People that look like me do that a lot. So let me switch up because, you know, I'm not dead yet. I still got some learning to do. So it's a work in progress. So thank you for your patience on that while I try to be a better human. And tell you that I'm going to tell you 2 things that might save your life or somebody that you know. All right? Number 1, I have lasted more than 3 times longer than the usual data for cancer says I was supposed to last, and it's for one reason. I found 2 Korean studies in peer-reviewed science, and it's important that it's Korean studies, that found that the casein protein in dairy is absolute rocket fuel for cancer. Have any of you ever seen any regular news, not in a scientific journal, regular news about casein protein being rocket fuel for cancer? Anybody? Anybody? No. No, I might be the only person you ever hear this from. Now, because we have community radio, we can talk about it there. But regular media is not going to go up against Big Cow. But the Koreans will. So when somebody says, oh, I can't believe in peer-reviewed science because that's all dominated by Big Pharma, I'm like, you know, there's 200 nations on Earth. They're also doing science, thank goodness, since we're gutting science here. So, yeah, look around. The truth is out there, and you gotta dig for it. And I wanna invite you to tell us your story. What is the thing that you know that would save people's lives that nobody's talking about, but you know about it? Yeah, so see that flyer right there? Come on to our website. You can also see Jay Tubb over here if you want to sign up for doing a show, or you could record public service announcements about whatever it is your favorite topic, issue, whatever is burning in your soul to be known by other people. Like the casein protein is something that burns in my soul because it saved my life. I'm here now instead of dead in 2018 because of those Korean studies that I found about casein protein. And I keep saying casein, not dairy, although it comes from dairy, because it's in other products like the dairy-free creamer. You turn it around, it's got caseinate in it. So you got to also know what to look out for. And that's why hearing your stories is so important, because I got my story, and now you've heard it. And now, eat what you want, that's your body, but now you know one more thing to know about how to work with your body to be who you want to be. And that's what community radio is all about, becoming who you want to be. That's why we call it the work. It's the work of becoming a better person. Just like I told you, I started out being a typical guy that looks like this and made it all about me. But now it's about you. It's about your stories. You've heard my story. Now we want to hear your story. And you know, once we start doing that, all of a sudden, the world of possibilities opens up. You know, the authorities want us to go, oh my God, they got all of the guns that we paid for, so I guess we're just gonna have to knuckle under. Well, you know, what if there's a whole lot of other things we can do besides Rambo as an answer? You know, y'all ever heard of a movie called Billy Jack? Oh, I think I heard somebody say, yeah. Yeah, Billy Jack is interesting because he's violent at the end, but he resists it. And they try all these other solutions, and to me, that's where we're at. We're at the point where maybe it comes to violence in places, but that's not the best solution for us. Because, let's face it, we're not snipers. We're not gonna become snipers. Why would we? Why would we dedicate what's left of our lives to such a horrible thing? We don't have to. We are creative because we have to be creative. I had to figure out casein protein. I had to figure out other supplements to extend my life because I didn't have a ton of money. And so many other people, all right, you don't have a ton of money, but you have friends, you have community resources you can connect to, like this radio station, like these speakers that have come up before you, the ACLU, right? You're rich in other ways. So instead of us getting all worried about, oh, they got all the guns and they got the secret police, I'm like, well, you know what? People are throwing glitter on them now. So when we see them somewhere and they're like, huh, you don't look like the kind of guy that would wear glitter. I think I know what you've been doing. And you know, a horrible thing, I'm gonna give you a horrible statistic that just kind of demonstrates how crazy all this is that Obama actually exported more human beings. He was called deporter-in-chief. He was sending out 800 people a day. Trump is around 700 a day. And Obama did it with due process. He did it with them wearing their names and their faces not covered up. So they don't need it. It's all just a horrible drama to suck us into this dystopia that isn't even necessary by their own standards, for their own stated goal. It's unnecessary, even by their standards. And that's what makes this all so crazy, and that's why we have creativity on our side, because we can research things like that and say, oh, they didn't need any of that stuff. Like, it's not gonna actually harm even their goals by requiring them to behave like decent human beings, have their face out like police have for over 200 years, and put their name badge like police have had for over 200 years. The whole secret police thing is unnecessary. And we can draw their attention to that because we're creative. We have to be creative. And now I told you I was going to tell you 2 things that can save your life. Here's the next one. And it's really important because I'm going to give you a bummer of a statistic, and then I'm going to give you a solution. All right, you ready? Here's the bummer statistic. Phytoplankton, I love trees, but phytoplankton makes 70% of the oxygen we are breathing right now. The oceans. I mean, it makes sense. The oceans make up 3/4 of the surface of the earth. So it makes sense that the phytoplankton living there would make 70% of the oxygen, right? Well, unfortunately, when you increase the carbon dioxide, a raindrop falls through it, collects that carbon dioxide as carbonic acid, and dissolves the phytoplankton that make our oxygen and are the basis of the food chain. Which, I like eating fish. I also like fish that I don't eat to have all the life they need. And our children are gonna need that oxygen. And we can reverse it. There's a simple product. It's just a common lens polishing compound called cereal. We can reverse it. There's a simple product. It's just a common lens polishing compound called cereal.
Lewis got his start with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And one of our founders, Ella Baker, introduced John Lewis to several other people, and they started an organization called the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC. And if you remember, that's where the good trouble started, because a lot of people that were with SNCC ended up with the Black Panther Party. But John Lewis came back home to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. I had the privilege of growing up in Atlanta. I went to school with Dr. King's children. I lived 6 blocks from Martin Luther King. And I lived in the district that John Lewis eventually represented. I was a little older than that, so I wasn't there at that time. But I want you to understand, and I want everybody listening to understand, that without the faith community, none of this would be happening. And without all the different organizations, all the different faiths, every faith that you can imagine, agnostics, atheists, everyone came together to work together. I like to tell, I told Nicole all the time, and you'll see it on our site, I say, united we stand, divided we fall. And that's the truth at this time. We need to unite. NAACP was with us down there on Monument Avenue when we spoke today. And we're uniting with all of the different legacy social justice organizations, but I'm bringing all of them to work with 5051 and Indivisible, because united we stand, and divided we fall. United we stand, and divided we fall. Remember that. Everybody, no matter where you are, you may have differences, you may have want to see this done and that done, but everybody knows that cutting SNAP is a bad thing, because we don't want hungry people in this country. That's right. This is the wealthiest country in the world, and these billionaires make more money in a day than some of these people ever see in their lifetime. Right. So we stand up together against these fascists. I don't know what to call them other than the fact that there's no integrity, there's no decency, there's no honesty. If they sit up here and tell you they can cut Medicaid and Medicare and SNAP and make you think that they care about people, they're lying. They're lying to your face. So remember again, united we stand.
Divided we fall.
United we stand.
Divided we fall.
Thank you very much. All the faith community, all the organizations, we're coming together to fight these fascist people who want to turn this place into something that happened in Germany in 1939. And we're not going to stand for it. Woo! We're not going to stand for it. United we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. Our website is sclcrva.org. Please sign up for our mailing list, sclcrva.org. God bless you, and good trouble lives on in the name of John Lewis. Thank you very much for having us.
All right. All right. I just want to remind you, united we stand, divided we fall. Out here are many, many organizations, all up and down Monument Avenue, all sitting here to be talked to. We're not going to stay in our little silos, right? We're going to go talk to that person down there with the SCLC. We're going to talk to the person with Liberal Women in Chesterfield County who will turn and talk to the people at 5051. We cannot do this without each other. See, that's what fascism is. They want to make you think that you're alone, that you're out here by yourself with no one to have your back. But we have each other's back, right? We keep us safe. All right. Someone decided to ask me to speak. Yeah, we did. Other than doing the asides, so I actually had to write down the speech, which if y'all know, I'm just the kind of person that just likes to wing it, but I actually went and decided to write some stuff down. They asked me to talk about hope. Me, the woman whose call sign is Angry Black Woman. Woo! But I digress. And I was really struggling with that. And I actually went and watched a documentary called Resistorhood. Oh, yeah. And it reminded me. And this documentary was about Trump 1.0. And all the people whose stories were being told and taking up arms to fight against the Trump regime before he even walked in the door. How many of y'all were down at the Women's March in 2017? I was there. I was there. I had been to many, 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 many protests and marches, but I had never in my life been in a crush like that. I was so encouraged. And I believe that was I was so encouraged. And I believe that was You just have to work that muscle, that courage. I reflect on those men and women who fought in the civil rights movement and who laid the foundation for us, who are willing to sacrifice for us in order to bring about a better world for all of us. I can't imagine, I mean, they're facing circumstances like we are now, right? Suppression of free speech, intimidations, threats of violence, a government turned against the people who are demanding their rights in the face of the Trump regime and at great odds. Those freedom fighters strategized, organized, and mobilized, and in so doing made this country better. If they can do it, we can do it. We too have an obligation, nay, a duty to fight the injustices, inequality, and cruelty of the Trump regime. To win, and then to build something other and better than we've had before. We need to come together in hope and love, defending those without our resources and privileges to come together in community with one another and with one voice say, we will not accept this insanity. We will not accept this insanity. I don't hear you.
We will not.
We reject this hatred.
We will not.
We reject this hatred. The hope. Because authoritarians want to make you afraid, make you hopeless so that you fall in line. Say that we can't fight against this, so why try? And I've already cussed twice today, so what the hell? I'm damned if I'm going to let them do this. Hope is an act of resistance. Let me say that again. Hope is an act of resistance.
Woo!
If we all stand together, we will win.
Yes, we will.
In the words of Thurgood Marshall, where you see wrong or inequality or injustice, speak out, because this is your country. This is your democracy. Make it, protect it, pass it on.
Woo!
Thank y'all. Good trouble lives on. If y'all have bubbles, I would ask at this time to blow bubbles to the ancestor for our brother, Congressman John Lewis. Thank you. Thank all of you.
I can't move my microphone back. Hold on. Here we go. All right, guys. That is the end of our protest today. Thank you, everyone who managed to make it out here. Thank you, everyone who watched the whole stream. I really appreciate having you guys here. I hope to see you next time, or maybe you convince somebody else to come out. Keep making that good trouble. We will see you next time.